and I'm here with another trick of the trade for you. This week I'd like to discuss something that you may or may not be aware of. A while back, when I started with the rag dolls, I noticed that every now and then I would find something that the cats inappropriately urinated on, or I would find something that was chewed completely up. It didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time, but over the years I've come to see a pattern, and a lot of times I have people ask me questions, and some of those questions revolve around using the bathroom in an inappropriate place, or the very same thing that I had a complaint with, chewing up of things that you really wouldn't think or expect cats or dogs to do. Okay, so I decided I would do some research and see if there was anything to that. Apparently, there's a lot to do with that. The chemical makeup of things makes a great deal of difference. For instance, a paper bag chemically has the same makeup as a candle, but the molecules in each are different, so it makes them different. So they do have something in common, but then there's also something that separates them. This is the case with many things in a home, and even things that you find around the yard. So first of all, I want to show you what I have to back up what I'm saying. This is a 4-page article that is, let's see, felineexpress.com. That's where I found it on the internet. Okay, it's called Cats and Plastic Bags, and I'm just going to read you some of the highlights I've marked here. Okay, this all begins with something that cats have called the Jacobson organ, and that's Jacob, like a little boy's name, and then son, Jacob's son. It is located at the base of the nasal cavity, so that's deep in here, and they have scent glands here also that are affected. If you've ever seen a cat wiping like this on something, they're putting their scent. There are scent glands, as I said, on each side, and it excretes a certain enzyme, and they do put that there, and it's sort of like marking their territory. The Jacobson organ is connected to a cat's brain, and it controls both sexual behavior and feeding behavior, this article says. So 2 totally different things, but yet related when it comes to the brain of a cat. Okay? Many people have reported to this company, to this website, that time after time again, their cats have exposure to plastic, and they're licking them, chewing the plastics, or spraying them. So you've got both worlds there too. The Consumer Affairs representative of Pactive Corporation, makers of the hefty garbage bag, they state, Rude, please don't scratch that while I'm talking. Rude, please don't do it. No. They state that the chemical polyethylene is in a lot of bags, a lot of plastics, and there's a certain amount of carbon. Well, if you know anything about carbon, carbon is a matter of everything. It's part of our makeup and everything else in our universe that you can touch, see, or feel. And so many, many, many things, as you can imagine, do have carbon in them, even if it's a small amount. The Occidental Chemical Corporation has this to say about the possibility of carbon being the attractant. And there goes your Roo scratching on my little stand there for my camera again. Carbon, first of all, it's an organic type of carbon that we're speaking of. It's the stuff that we and virtually everything else in the universe is made of. Polyethylene bags are organic carbon, and chemically they are made of just carbon and hydrogen. The molecules, as I was saying earlier, they are longer though. They're different. There's different makeup, and that is what sets them apart. That is what the chemical company has to say. There's a lady here in this particular web search that I went to. It says, if I didn't stop her from licking the bags, she would progress to chewing them. She would go to the wastebasket and nibble on the handles that protruded out from the sides, and she said even when I would tie the handles together and put my garbage at the door to go out, the bag handles would still be sticky from cat spit, this lady reports. Here's another lady that says that her cat will even sit by the cabinet where the empty bags are stored, and he just meows at it to open up, and to open up so he can get to the bags. She said that he is even more interested in plastics than he ever was in catnip. That's something to think about. The problem with this, as you can imagine, is if they do ingest the plastic, the bags are radio dense, and they can only be found with an ultrasound. This article here says that they are not detectable by X-ray, and once the plastic enters the digestive tract, it can cause a serious blockage, and then surgery is required to remove it many times. Just to go over this in case, FYI, the symptoms of a possible obstruction are vomiting, abdominal pain, loss of appetite, lethargy, and inability to pass waste. Just FYI there for you. The other thing is I was reading, and they were talking about liquid latex rubber and all the different things that contain that. So I said, well, let me research what actually latex liquid rubber is a part of. Well, rubber backings on rugs, that's one thing. That's the problem that I had. I always wanted to put a rug right in front of the litter box so that when the cats jumped out, that any excess of the litter that was hanging onto their feet would just go onto the rug, and then I could take it out and shake it later. Well, that was all fine and well, but then I started finding that some cats were actually urinating on the rug. So that's when I decided I had to make a change. Okay, another thing that is that has to do with the liquid latex rubber, it also contains ammonia. Well, if you have ever had a litter box that really needed cleaning, you can smell the ammonia in it. It is a part of the cat's urine, and so there are like chemicals there, and they recognize that smell. So, in other words, if I have this type of rug, and it has the rubber backing, I put it in front of my litter box, the cat jumps out, but when I put it down, it smells fresh and new, and they can really pick up on that rubber or vinyl backing. So don't be surprised if that's happened sometime and you just thought it was your kitty acting out. This is another kind of mat that I do not recommend. It's a foam type of backing. It looks like foam, but if you look at the contents on the label, it does state that it has latex in it. So what kind of rugs should you use if you want to put something in front of the litter box? I actually recommend not putting anything at all. If you have to do something, think about putting a towel there, doubled up, and then just changing the towel out and washing it every so often. That's a good option, and no latex at all. But if you have to have a mat, if you have to have it look pretty, here is a type of mat that I suggest. Now it's just cloth all the way through, or I guess it's yarn fiber, and it is thick. I guess it's probably at least a ½ inch thick, and it does take a lot longer to dry in the dryer because it is so thick, but there's no latex here. There's no rubber backing, there's no latex, and it's going to be a much better option for you. I have a cat that really is drawn to plastic, as we were talking about the blockage issue there. And look at all the things that we have to be so careful about. We have to literally watch everything that day. We open up a container of water. He comes up, he chews on the plastic that remains behind. We really have to watch everything. If I have a piece of candy, I have to be so careful to get the candy papers right into the garbage can, because otherwise he's got one and he's chewing on it, and he will chew on it and then he'll swallow it many times. And he's just been a very lucky cat. I hope he's not on his 9th life right now. Here's some other things. You may come home from the grocery store and with a pack of paper towels and unload them. Well, be careful that this isn't hanging out of the garbage can, because this is another thing that you're not really thinking of that cats will go to, and they can either urinate on it if they interpret the smell as a sexual smell, from the Jacobson organ that we spoke about, or they can chew it if they see it as a feeding type of smell. Okay, all kinds of things in the house. Here's a bag of candy bag, plastic. This came from the dollar store. These are some little containers, also in a plastic container, real easy for the cats to chew through. A pack of cotton balls that are sticking out of your bathroom cabinet. Be careful about that. They'll go right to it if you have a chewer. Even something that you're not really thinking about, latex rubber gloves. That's another thing. They'll chew the fingers right off, and that just goes right down in the belly. Even a basket like this. Now, I have seen, not Rude chew this, but I have heard of cats urinating in or on things like this. It's very attractive to them because, again, it does have some element that they're smelling and that they are sensitive to that we're not. So keep in mind all of these things. I want to show you this other thing here. Now, I've heard people say, well, we just got a brand new bedspread and our cat got up and peed in the middle of the bed. Brand new. Well, this is the container of one of the bedspreads that I purchased this past year. And guess what it's made of? It is a vinyl. Okay? This may sound very funny to you, but when I was a little girl, I used to love to get a brand new Barbie doll. I'd take her out of the box, and I loved to smell the hair. I called it the smell of baby doll hair. It was actually the plastic, the fresh new plastic, or the vinyl, whatever the fibers were that the baby's hair were made of. I just love that smell. And that's about how it is for the cats. It does carry that scent, whether you pick this up and smell it, don't smell anything or not. Their noses are extremely keen, and they can pick up on something like that. If you get new sheets or a new bedspread, please be smart and wash it first. I know you think, oh, this is just out of the bag. I don't want to wash it. It's clean. But you might regret it later. So I do recommend washing it before you put it on the bed. And use a bunch of fabric softener in it to get rid of any smell like this. Now, to make matters a little worse, look what contains carbon nowadays. That's right. Cat litter. Right here, carbon. It says makes it smell fresher longer. Okay, so you've got that smell. They're used to the carbon, and they find other things, and they detect the smell. And is it any wonder that they're confused? I'm telling you all these things because it does make a lot of sense. When cats do things, they are pretty smart animals, and unlike dogs who do things and sometimes you have no clue where that was coming from, cats will usually have a purpose for anything that they're doing wrong, such as urinating inappropriately. Sometimes it comes from a urinary tract infection, but in most cases, they're going to be gravitating to something with this smell that they are very familiar with. So I just wanted to remind you about this and make you aware of what's going on, what you may see going on in your home. And I hope this has helped you. It helps me. And see you next time for another trick of the trade.